That's okay. It's understandable. Why don't we go ahead and start and we will catch Don up if he makes it. So I'm going to call us to order at 4:02 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I do have a request to add something to the agenda, which would be noted as a vacancy on the PRT committee. Ron Gans has told me that he won't be able to continue as a committee member, but would like to continue to serve. So just make that an official agenda item so that we can have the town put out word that we're looking for a new member.
Got it.
Did you guys have any additions, deletions, or corrections?
No.
Don't worry about it.
Motion to accept that change, Jay?
Sure. I'd make a motion.
You're seconding.
I'm seconding.
Thank you.
My apologies. Oh. I
All
don't have a
good. All in
hearing aid
favor,
in.
aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Right. I don't see anyone else on the Zoom besides the three of us, basically. Is there anyone there present who would like to speak?
Negatory.
All right. So we will move right past item number 3 and into item number 4. Were there any additions or corrections to the meeting minutes?
I see nothing.
I only had one note, which was the spelling on Lisa Koselek's name.
Yes,
is
please.
Koselak.
Say that again. We had static. Sorry. Koselak.
Koselak.
Got it.
And Nancy, I copied you on an email to her earlier so
Okay.
that we have her email address on file too. I think would be nice.
All right. And Dawn just walked in.
Terrific. Halfway through the meeting, I might point out.
5 minutes, 4 minutes.
He was busy. He was busy sawing something.
I bet that's right. Is there a motion? Would someone like to move to accept the meeting minutes from last PRT meeting?
I will so move. This time I'm on the right side of it.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Let's see. Old business, item 5A, CWP grant. And Ron Gans has submitted to us some new information on the dumpster blind. And let me see if I can share my screen to put it up in front of you all. Looks like that is the magic sauce right there. So can you all see my cursor?
Yep.
Okay. So that we're clear, this is the proposed site shown in a couple of different ways. This is a nice diagram of how exactly that dumpster gets loaded in. And it looks like we had an option of opening this out towards Ute Pass Avenue or this direction. So we'll make a choice about that. And then we had some options on what looks like a fence, looks like a fence with some town logos on it. Plain Jane, scallop top fence, arch screen wall fence, and sort of a horizontal design fence. So I'm just going to open it up to the crowd. And Jay, thoughts here?
Now, if I understand that correctly, the middle picture would show an opening on the Ute Pass Avenue side, so that would be to the bottom of that picture. There's two gates that are opening.
Correct. So this says recycling access. So this is from, this is the post office here. So this gate basically opens out to UPass Avenue. Versus in this layout, it would open towards the side street.
Okay, yeah, towards the side street it just seems like it would be easier if it opens as that top picture. Wouldn't that require a difficult turn on the part of the vehicle? Maybe I'm not understanding the layout properly.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, and I very much dislike opening the doors to our garbage towards the main street.
Mhm.
So for that reason, I think that this is our better option.
All right.
Personally,
It might be better in this picture if there was a note that said, here is the post office. I don't see that in the picture right now. Maybe I'm just not, maybe it's just not magnified enough.
yeah, it's not shown, but this is the post office. It's not called out. Remember, this is not a construction plan. This is a
Right, it's a schematic.
schematic, right? Did you have any other comments?
I have a question.
Okay.
Was there a discussion, or should there be, to have the large dumpster open out towards the street as well? Were we going to investigate whether there's enough depth on that property to open that out for easy access?
Both of these schematics, specifically the delivery and pickup of this dumpster, was specified by the waste management company, who said this is really the only way they can do it.
Granted, okay.
Okay, and just to clarify, Waste Management is comfortable that their driver can maneuver in that space, because directly ahead of the truck, in its headlights essentially would be Colby Gooding's home. But that apparently is the preferred manner of loading and unloading the dumpster.
Correct. This was we met with Waste Management on site, and they said not only were they able to do it in this scenario, but it was really the only way that they could do it.
Good, okay. Yeah, just want to be sure we have that in case there's a discussion with interested parties.
Sure. I think once we make a recommendation here, part of the approval process is getting Waste Management to sign off on it one more time, because we did add this detail with the second dumpster or recycling dumpster.
I do like where your cursor is right now. I like that configuration better than the top configuration. And if we go to the fence, the different options of the fence,
Mhm.
I think one of the things we need to consider is like the one at the very bottom is very conducive to climbing because of the horizontal slats.
Mhm.
I think something vertical would be better. I know we talked about putting the vinyl sign, the pictures that were up, historical Green Mountain Falls. I guess we'd have to look at measurements for that. But as far as decorative, the arched or the one that's right above it, can't remember what it's called. I think those sort of are more aesthetically pleasing, in my opinion.
So back to like an optometrist, this versus this, it seems like we unanimously are in favor of this site plan,
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
So then as we look at aesthetics, you know, my personal opinion is, this may get dirty and not look great. I sort of like the way that this looks of the options presented because it looks the most like this building. If it were painted the same color as this building, it would sort of disappear, I think. So for that same reason, I sort of think the scalloped and arched tops maybe are a little out of place because they're not communicating with those architectural features anywhere close to them. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that once you pointed it out. And if the wood is stained or painted to more resemble what we have in our community, that'd probably work. I think it needs to be vertical slats versus horizontal slats, just for the simple deterrent of climbing.
And remember that that we will have Department of Wildlife approved signage talking about being a bear care community posted on this as well. So I think that's another reason we can add the town logo to our signage that'll be attached. And that'll be a little bit less in our face than this one. Don, what are your thoughts?
I'm agreeing with, I think the group consensus. You did persuade me about the straight fencing. Are we set on just using, yellow or white pine and then staining or painting, sealing it as opposed to treated wood, natural?
I think we could certainly call that out here in our recommendation. Whatever would be the preference. My personal observation about dumpster blinds in general, because I did drive around Manitou Springs and Woodland Park looking for inspiration, which I did not find. But what I did note was a lot of sagging gates that looked like they appeared to be inoperable, not clean, not tidy. So I think your point about making it of the best materials, we should specify that. And I would like to specify that the posts for the gates, we make sure that those are engineered to be strong enough to not sag. So it sounds like then, is there anyone who does not want to recommend this look or this design, the vertical boards?
I'm fine with that approach. That's good.
Agree.
Agree.
So then it and Don, would you say what you would recommend be the materials?
I would like to see a natural wood with steel frame, at least the horizontal frame. If you're worried about the sagging and stuff like that, that's where you're going to occur most of it.
And with this design, that takes out all 4 trees?
It does. Michael Tillman from the Forestry Department still has not made his evaluation of this site. I wouldn't mind kicking this one more meeting because I don't think it's time sensitive to get his advice, because I do believe that there's room to leave at least one of those trees here if it's going to be healthy. That's totally up to you guys, though.
No, I agree. We should get all the information. And like you said, this is not time sensitive. So I think if we can make a firm decision or recommendation in February meeting, I think we should be okay.
Okay. Would you be opposed to us drafting a motion that we can actually move for at the next meeting, which would be a motion to recommend this layout? I don't have any way to identify that. So we'll eliminate this picture from our next packet. So this site plan with vertical natural wood painted to match the post office and attached to steel frame construction.
That's good compromise, and probably is a best fit.
And
Do
we
do
could
we need a motion
potentially
on that?
say, we could potentially say, or as part of our recommendation to the board, that the site will be further beautified and improved with signage related to Green Mountain Falls being a bear care community, as recommended by the Department of Wildlife.
Should we say anything about terracing? How the rest of it will be finished out?
Sure. What are your thoughts there?
Oh, sprinkler system. Just kidding. It's, I think it could probably be accomplished with just a dirt terrace as opposed to a retaining landscaping wall or anything like that. I think just a dirt terrace in the back, and then replant some annual grass or perennial, whatever your set is on that.
Yeah, I think maybe a general way to say that is that that the site be repaired or brought back to match the surrounding conditions. There's a rock wall back here with some plant material, which is honestly probably weeds. This is a lot of DG out here before it turns and transitions into the street. So honestly, I think we're just restoring everything back to the way it was and setting ourselves up for, possibly doing something nice back on this side, although that's private property, actually. The grass area shown on this back side of the dumpster is private property.
Yeah. Jesse, in this picture, it looks like a good bit of material is removed. That terraced raised area would be cut down. The ground around the trees is at least a foot higher than the rest. So the assumption here is that when this structure is put together, it's leveled? Level with the street, I think?
It'd have to be.
Yeah, it'd have to be.
There's a transition there you can't overcome because the transition goes on to private property.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So we'll have to bring ours down either by a wall or by a berm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're bringing up a great point because this is one of those things that often gets missed by the contractor when they are. I think part of the RFP should be an explanation by the contractor on what they will do with grading and how they will restore the site.
Do we even want to specify grass or do we just want to bring gravel up to the sides of it
Yeah,
and not try to grow grass?
I think, again, we say that we restore the site with likened to the surrounding materials. Because, yeah, this isn't grass. I mean, this really isn't grass. I think
Mm-mm.
this is just, we're
it's
assuming it's
not
grass, but we all know it's not.
It should probably be removed in the final draft. So we're not getting the idea we're planting grass, terrace grass back there.
What about the idea of having the contractor specify that in their RFP?
Well, I was more concerned with the impression that the board gets when they look at the imagery.
Okay, then I think it's easy for us to have Ron remove that patch of grass between now and the next meeting.
Or you can just give me a marker.
You'd probably draw in an irrigation system.
And a bridge.
I feel pretty comfortable with that draft language that we can review again at the next meeting. And I will make a note to ask Ron to resubmit this package only showing this site plan, this fence configuration, and Nancy, if you wouldn't mind sending out the draft motion that we just worked on, I think that'd be useful for Ron to know as he's
Okay.
making this change.
I can do that.
We all happy there?
I think we are.
All right, let's move on then to, so there's no action on that. We are kicking it to the next meeting, but with most of the work already done. I like that. Item number 5B on old business is Stilling Basin update. I did speak with Ron today, or I had an email interchange with him, and he has not yet completed that work, but it's in his work plan. And I don't have any further information on the Stilling Basins. Do any of you?
No.
All right, then we'll move on to item 6A and new business, which is the election of 2023 PRT officers. I think this might be a good point to, or a good place to add to the agenda that we have a vacancy on the PRT. As I stated earlier, Ron informed me that he is unavailable for the majority of our meetings, and wanted me to assure everyone that he is happy to continue to volunteer for the group with drawings and things that we need specific assistance on. But he felt bad that he was not able to be present at more of the meetings. I sort of gave him two options then. One was to just be a member who can't make it to all the meetings, or second would be to remain as a PRT volunteer and open up his seat on the board or on the committee. And he opted to open up his seat. So any,
So
do you think?
Jesse,
Yeah.
do you just let town staff know that so that they can make that vacancy? The community be aware of that vacancy?
Yes, I will make a note to email town staff at the end of this meeting and let them know. And my recollection, tell me if I'm wrong, is that they will post in various places that there's a vacancy and ask for applications. And if any of you all have anyone in mind, make sure and let them know that they can get an application from town hall.
Perfect.
Yeah, personally, I hate to lose Ron as a member, but I'm really happy that he's willing to stay on and help us with his specialty work.
Agreed.
Skill set we need.
So then moving into 6A, election of the PRT officers. I
I'll
don't know.
volunteer as secretary.
Who's the third? Are you vice?
I'm vice. You should get a vice or two.
A vice.
I'm suggesting Don needs a new vice. He
Uh.
does, he is spending too much time with, at DeWalt, battery shops.
I was there today. I respectfully decline. I'd like to just make a motion that the current officers retain their position for 2023.
Well, that was pretty slick way to not have a discussion about every office.
Jesse, if you can stay on, I think it would be best for the group because you have a broader perspective on the town operations right now. I would hope you can support that. If you're comfortable doing that, I would propose that you stay on. And I will supplement you as necessary as vice chairman, but really, I'm not in a position, I don't have as much perspective on the town operations or connections to the various contractors and supporting people.
Well, I am happy to continue to serve because I like working with you guys and I'm proud of our accomplishments. So I'm happy to serve again. And I will second Don's motion. All in favor?
Aye.
And that was a quick, clean election. No mudslinging.
No sign of fraud.
Right.
I think we should count the votes.
No, there's a mail-in ballot.
All right, moving on to item 6B, which is the review of the PRT 2022 goals and exploration of 23 goals. And Nancy, I'm looking to see what's in the packet here. We went right over that. And that's okay because we got election done. So here's a list of our 2022 goals. And Nancy, I'm going to let you take over the presentation for here. Let me know if you need me to scroll up or down.
Well, can you make it look bigger because I can't read it on our screen?
Do you want a copy?
Oh, there it is. There it is.
How about
Okay.
that?
All right. So basically all I did is I took our 2022 goals and I just highlighted the ones that we were not able to accomplish in 2022. The majority of them that are not highlighted are either completed or we're still working on them. So they're carrying from 2022 over to 2023. And then at the bottom, I was given the task to go through, well, no, not that bottom, go up.
Yeah.
The bottom of that page,
Mhm.
I was given the task to go through the old 2022 meeting minutes and sort of glean from those some of the ideas that we had that could possibly be a 2023 goal. So we can just look over the highlighted ones combined with the ones at the bottom. And then also, I'm assuming we'll probably have to carry over the 2023 goals that we didn't accomplish in 2022. Oh, there they are.
Of course, since I assigned you that task, I think you did a great job, and it makes total sense that to me, that we establish our 23 goals in this manner. So again, we've highlighted things that we did not accomplish in 2022. That does not detract or take away from all the things that we did accomplish, which I'm very proud of. So highlighted items here, in addition to things that we have discussed during our meetings as being 2023 goals, I think is a great place to start. And additionally, I would say that many of these goals are, like reseeding Squires Park. These are things that are written into the maintenance plan that we approved for the parks and is now part of our 23 plan. So I would suggest that maybe each of us, well, how do you guys want to move on? Do you want to review this again before the next meeting? Do we want to accept this as it is and present a formalized list at the next meeting? Nancy, what's your thought?
I think if we have, this is not something that has to be done today.
Mhm.
I had PRT action desired, but it doesn't we don't have to have a motion of accepting 2023 goals today. We can, take some time, take a little bit of time before the next meeting, have everyone sort of look them over. There might be some additions
Yeah.
or something that I missed. And come back with some input, in the February meeting, and then sort of finalize it there. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I think that would be good. A couple of the items that are in the lower group are a little speculative, would need to be connected to something. For example, the rebuilding the marshal's office we've discussed that sort of on the side at various times. If we wanted to do that, would be good to have a use and a goal in mind. Here's what we do with this space, and just redoing it and then leaving it sit would put that kind of in jeopardy.
It's a
Long-
welcome center.
Yeah, it really would. And if that's the right way to go, I think it would be good to have that in a long-term plan. Think about how we could put that into the scheme for the town.
We got one ready.
And remember that we're not renovating, we're making a recommendation.
Mhm.
And I think it's wonderful that our recommendation include some ideas and thoughts, and also directives from the town, as there may be officers of the town that already have some of that information or have some ideas. So yeah, so what I'm hearing is that we're going to take the highlighted items and this list, and that's going to be our proposed draft that we will each review in the next month, and we'll come with additions to that list at our February meeting, and we will have quickly established our 2023 goals. In addition to that, Nancy, just FYI, I'm going to take that parks maintenance plan and start going through and maybe put that onto a calendar. I don't want to look at it after we should have already been starting something. So I'll review that, and I'd like that to be an agenda item at the next meeting. And I think it would be nice at each monthly meeting to review what should be happening that month in that maintenance plan and what we should be recommending in the month ahead of that, so that we are staying ahead of our own plan.
Jesse, do you know if there is a current maintenance plan of any sort that would be held by the town manager or the public works manager?
Well, I know that we all reviewed that, Don, and it was a one sheet that was not very thorough. So we developed the maintenance plan with the budget earlier this year. Do I know that, do I know what the town manager has done with that? To be honest, I don't, but I can certainly put it on my list to ask town staff if that, if that's going to be the plan they follow. Nancy, do you know, was there board action taken on that plan or just the budget?
It was just the budget. I did have the plan attached to an advice memo, but they looked more at the summary that I did for the advice memo versus the spreadsheet.
Okay.
And honestly, that could be a 2023 goal also. I was going to put that on there, but then I didn't. Just reviewing the 2022 maintenance plan and seeing what we needed to revise. There might be numbers that are different, because all of this, we didn't have anything to really, this is our baseline. And
Yeah.
so we will be able to, at the end of this year, look back at the 2022 plan and make an even more accurate 2023 plan.
So let's call that a 2023 goal to review monthly administration of the 2023 parks maintenance plan. We did it in 22, but it was for 23. So we'll review the administration of it. And we also will make a goal to improve it and resubmit it with the 2024 plan and budget.
And something else I could do is I can take, so it's a little bit easier to read. I can take the yellow pieces, combine it with the bottom, and then also add what we just talked about with the monthly review and send it out to you guys BCC so that you guys can sort of look at it and give some comment back to it on the next meeting. Not to me, but it'll just be like a reference.
That sounds great.
Jesse?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to express, my personal desire out of this committee to be respectful of the Public Works Department, whether they have a written plan or not. I would like to work as closely as possible in formulating a maintenance plan to find out what exactly is done. I have to confess, I'm a little ignorant on what they'd be doing on a day-to-day basis, but at the same time, I don't want to create a whole new public works program and not, work in some way with what's going on right now.
I hear and agree with what you're saying. At this point, that is the town manager's specific role to interface with Public Works. But I will communicate with her. I'll ask her when we have our discussion about the parks maintenance plan, if we can be helpful. I don't think we can assert ourselves to do that. We can do what we always do is offer to help, and we're frequently asked, so I think it's a good thing. But if you'll remember, Don, when we did that maintenance plan, we sort of looked at what the old maintenance plan had in it from the contractor and what was happening on a day-to-day or weekly or monthly, what was actually happening and done by Public Works. And we pulled all of that together and eliminated several of the things that were being done by the contractor or Public Works and moved those to volunteer hours. So,
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
so I think that is where we wear our hats.
I agree. And that's why up there it has spring workday.
Well, not to be oversimplified, try not to oversimplify this. It's just that I wouldn't feel comfortable about, and I know our authority in this area, we can only make suggestions, but we're making, what we do put out is pretty good material. I have to say that. But if we say we want park mode every Wednesday and the park's being mowed on Tuesday, it's just, how are we going to know that unless we talk to the people that actually do it? If you get my point.
I do get your point. I feel like we're an advisory committee with no authority to manage
Mhm.
anyone. All we can do really is report, but I will ask the town manager in what way we can assist with that if she requires it. And I think that we weren't so specific in our maintenance plan. I like the way that it was drafted. Because we didn't say that the park needed to be mowed on Tuesdays. We said that the park needed to be mowed once a week. So I think we gave a flexible plan, which would give, a manager of that department an easy way to make a daily schedule.
Okay, thank
But
you.
again, I feel like it's beyond our authority to manage it unless we're asked. And I don't want to disappoint you when I say that, or feel like we're not doing as much as we can be, because I think we are pressing up against what we're allowed to do today.
Okay, I'm going to trust you on that. We won't, I mean, I don't need to have any further discussion on that,
Okay.
but I'll just take what you said and go with it.
Well, and I will report back on what Becky's answer is to that, because it's really for town staff to answer that question, but I'll definitely pose it.
Thank you.
Shall we move on then to? You can tell I didn't print my agenda today. Friends of the Youth Pass Trails Maintenance Agreement. Has everyone had a chance to review that?
Yes.
Um, is there anyone who has discussion or has anything they would like to amend or change in that agreement language?
I didn't see anything.
No, I think the only two things that changed from 2022 to 2023 was the cost. It went from 4,500 to 5,500. And also having the ability to put their information, Friends of Youth Pass Trails information up on the trailheads, and also having that information linked to if anyone wanted to donate to their organization. Those were the only two things that had changed.
What scope of work?
I don't think, oh, did the scope of work?
There
change?
was the restoration of the falls.
Restoration of oh, you mean the,
It's fire
Restor-
mitigation.
Yeah.
That falls area.
Mhm.
Does that ring a bell?
yeah, I didn't think that was part of the deal with the Friends group, though. I thought that was to be pursued separately. Because the Friends group does not have anyone rated for Sawyer work. And similar stuff right now.
Jesse, I didn't get a chance to reread that for today's meeting, but was there not portion about the scope of work Friends was authorized to do, giving them authority to clean up that falls area?
So if we look at this specific
Mhm.
paragraph, I feel like clearing the trail of encroaching vegetation, dealing with rock slides. I feel like this is pretty broad, and I think that what you're talking about would fall into this
Okay.
without it being specifically named out. I don't think that anyone, I think that if you look at it with this paragraph in mind, it's included. It's easily part of what is considered routine or periodic maintenance of the existing features of the trail.
Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't go into detail about fire mitigation, cutting and similar stuff. So that's different. That would be the kind of thing we'd have to pursue with some other agency, because that's outside the Friends.
Well, it wasn't specifically named for that. It was just part of the maintenance. Anytime we haul brush or down trees off the mountain, it's helping in that regard.
Right. It has that effect, but really it's geared around maintaining the trail. We're not, the Friends can move one or two trees that are across the trail without too much difficulty, but taking out 30 trees as part of a fire mitigation thing is beyond us. So that's the difference. And the maintenance, as Jesse commented, the maintenance itself is to maintain the tread, maintain the access area, and we've got
I
that.
stand corrected on that. I withdraw my comment
No
regarding
worries.
the fire
worries.
mitigation portion.
You just have a way of doing mission creep on projects.
I'll say
Paving
that's why
the
this is a,
entirety of Catamount Trail is probably the next thing he's gonna come up with.
you know, and I would assume, and I would trust that the Friends of the Youth Pass Trails group would say, that's outside the scope of work. Let's figure out how to get that done another way. So I
True.
think that's our checks and balances, is that we're recommending that the town board of trustees allow the group, a broad scope of what maintenance is on the trails. And the Friends of the Ute Pass Trails has been and will continue to do a really good job of reporting specifically what they've done. We're all reviewing that and we're all saying, or we have this past year, we've reviewed their work. We've reviewed their worksheets and we've said we agree that this is within the scope of work. And we let the Board of Trustees know that we're happy with the job that's been happening. So I think there are some good checks and balances, but we're also not specifying what is allowed and what isn't allowed to the point that people can't work.
That's good.
I guess my only, so we knew about the increase in price and we advised the Board of Trustees in our budget plan about that. And so they have reviewed and approved that. What we haven't discussed, and to me, what is the only new part of this discussion is allowing the group to basically use our trailheads, town trailheads as a fundraiser. The language in which I just said that may make it sound like I'm against it, but it's something that I don't remember us having any conversation about. So I would like to ask you all what your thoughts are on that. And you all either froze or got real quiet. I can't tell.
Do you see any problem with the way it's stated right now?
You know, if I'm going to be honest, we're paying the Friends of the Ute Pass Trails. The town is paying the Friends of the Ute Pass Trails to do maintenance and provide support. And it feels like if anyone is fundraising on the town trailheads, it probably should be the town. And I'm a friend, you know, that's just how I feel about it. It
I
doesn't
think
mean-
there's, Jesse, I think there's an existing ordinance that the town passed with respect to the old Trails Committee, that if money was raised concerning the trails, that it went to the town. Would you know about that, Mr. Mayor? That's what I was referring, donations that were made to Friends should go to the city or the old Trail Committee.
This committee or to a specific item, or it is more kind of under the
Maybe it could best be discussed, you know, by the chairman of the Friends Committee. I can't pretend to know exactly what his perspective is on having that provision, other than just my personal experience in that organization, that some people like to make personal donations directly to a nonprofit organization as opposed to going through the town and having the town, feed that donation to the nonprofit.
So I think donations to the nonprofit are fine and have nothing to do with the town. Are we okay with a private nonprofit advertising on town property, which is the trailheads, fundraising? And maybe it's a question, it's the only thing that we haven't discussed. And Nancy, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing where that is in this agreement. Can you help me find that?
Yeah, hold on.
Nancy, I'm going to talk while you're looking at that, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember the discussion that we had in the Friends group concerning this matter. And I think the idea originated with the QR code because I think I brought it up about how tips are made today through off of QR codes. There were people playing in Manitou a musical instrument, and they'd have a QR code for people to leave tips in their guitar case. And I thought, well, you know, in the tradition of nonprofit trail organizations such as Friends of Peak, they used to have, you know, cash boxes at the beginning of their trail. They didn't own, but they volunteered. They were volunteers, and they collected money that way. In that same light, in the modern day, we have a QR code that would collect money for those people that are used to paying for hiking on trails. Because I've had a lot of people that say, is this free? Yeah, I say, yes, it's free.
Jesse, it was under the town of Green Mountain Falls will provide, and it's the very last thing, use of trailhead boards, posting at the Welcome Center.
Mhm.
It has Friends will provide, then go down, then it has the town of Green Mountain Fall will provide, go down. It's the very last paragraph. That one.
Okay, so providing information for potential donors, I think we're totally fine with. That's different than fundraising or asking for a donation. You're providing the information for potential donors.
I think what this was pertaining to is, like Dawn was saying, the QR code, and having Friends would have like a one sheet information about it, but it would also be, if you want more information, here's a QR code to go to the website. Now, the website might direct a person to say, yeah, I'd like to donate $25 to this nonprofit for maintaining of the trails. I don't think it'll have on the trailhead itself, click here or use this QR code to make a donation to a
Yeah,
non-for-profit.
there's no hook here to solicit on behalf of the Friends group at any of these locations. And, you know, potentially the Friends group may expand over time or get a broader visibility, because it is not solely geared around Ute Pass, although, or excuse me, not solely geared around Green Mountain Falls trails right now, but it is a broader group which will contribute to and help, for example, with the Ring the Peak Trail. But that is all this does is say that there would be a reference which would connect people to the Friends group.
And I am, thanks for going down that rabbit hole with me. And not to pick on you, Nancy, that's not exactly what you said when you said fundraising. So I just wanted to make sure that we talked through that and that we were clear on that before we made a recommendation. And I'll sort of say that if anyone is, you know, using the town property to ask for a donation, it should be the PRT or the town saying, if you want to support our parks or our trails, this is a way to do it. I think if someone's gonna do that, it should be us. And that's probably a whole different discussion, which is outside of this. So I am happy with the way this is written. Thanks for going down that rabbit hole with me, but I just wanted to make sure we all understood it the same way.
Yeah, Jesse, what you're essentially saying is that want to make sure that the Friends group doesn't get in trouble with the broader community by soliciting on town property. Now, just keep that in mind then, because that also means that the Bronc Day Committee should not be soliciting on town property. That's another bit that probably comes up there. Because that is using town property for Bronc Day. There is a specific agreement that the Bronc Day Committee can charge for sites within the let's say a vendor can submit a proposal for a site along the around the gazebo or at Lake Street. And that should be explicitly referenced in any agreement. It's just kind of an awareness thing that we don't want to get in. We don't want to create an appearance of a conflict or solicitation on town property.
You're exactly right, Jay. That's why I wanted to bring it out into the discussion and make sure that we were acknowledging that we're not giving permission to solicit for donations. We are giving permission to find out more about the Friends of the Ute Pass Trail Group.
Kind of a
So
fine
with
line.
that, I would like to recommend that we accept this trail maintenance agreement between the Friends of the Ute Pass Trails, or that we recommend to the Board of Trustees that they accept the 2023 Trails Maintenance Agreement.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no opposition. Nancy, you'll do that advice memo.
Yes, I will.
You're so brilliant with those. CDBG Phase 2 grant application recommendation. In discussion with the town manager earlier this week, we had hoped that she would have a preliminary draft of that grant application, which is due, I believe, I'm going to use loose dates, mid-February.
February 3rd.
Is that when it's
Yeah.
due?
It's
Okay.
due February 3rd.
So in order for us to have a recommendation for that grant application, we need to make a loose recommendation today that we're going to recommend the Phase 2 grant application. And I think that, and Nancy, if I get off course here, you're my double check. So if I get off course here, let me know. But we've agreed that Phase 2 of this grant application would be solely used for the rebuilding of the bridge and repairs to the gazebo for any monies outside of an additional grant that we've found for the gazebo. So let me say that again. We would basically be recommending today that the Phase 2 grant application be specific to the rebuilding or repairing of the bridge to Gazebo Island. And those numbers that we will submit will be based on the proposal that Don Walker did for us that we reviewed at the last meeting about what those costs are. So that's the base of what I think our recommendation would be. And the town manager has also agreed to allowing myself or Nancy review that grant application on behalf of PRT before it gets submitted. It's just not going to fall, everything can't fall into the scheduled meetings without us doing this sort of loose approval. But I'm confident that based on the questions that are being asked of us and the allowance of one of our members to review that we can make sure this is geared towards the bridge replacement or renovation.
Agreed. You did well, Jesse. I didn't have to get you back on track at all.
Well, that was a lot to keep track of as I said it. So, so how did I do? What questions do you guys have? And Don, I'm going to ask you to go first because this was really your pet project.
Dawn had to step out for a second.
Well, wasn't that convenient? Okay, let's
But-
start with you.
That's you.
I don't have any other questions or comments on it. I'm comfortable with everything that I could conceive of has been covered in that discussion.
And Dawn is just walking back into the room, ready to discuss.
And Nancy, while he's taking a seat,
Sure.
you're comfortable?
I am very comfortable with this proposal for the grant. It's something that needs to be done. Dawn's put in a lot of detailed work to give a really good proposal and a lot of information that we didn't have before on the first phase. So with this second phase being a little bit, no, not a little bit, but a lot of bit more engineered and thought out, totally comfortable with the direction it's going. Your turn.
I think Nancy spoke beautifully for me.
We didn't expect you to rip it.
Nancy, are you comfortable converting what I said into a motion?
Absolutely. So did you move that?
I did.
Essentially, it's essentially putting a motion to say that approve the proposal. Is that sufficient?
Yeah, let me review it back for Don. Probably not as good as I said it the first time. But Don, what we're doing is we are making a recommendation that the Board of Trustees apply for the CDBG Phase 2 grant application, which will be specific to the replacement or renovation of Gazebo Island Bridge and gazebo itself, as specified in your reports that you filed at the last PRT meeting. And we will use those numbers, with probably an inflation factor attached to them so that we can come in on target with the actual plan once it goes in.
Okay, so what I didn't know was the portion about the gazebo itself. So I have not written anything specific on that, but we certainly could. In that respect, I'd move that we approve this motion to submit this information on the CDBG grant proposal.
Perfect. So we'll have that be a second, Don. And
Yes,
all in favor? Aye.
I,
aye.
Thank you, group. That was a strange one, but the right thing to do, and I appreciate the town manager allowing us to be involved in that application.
And I'll put together an advice memo for that and attach Dawn's information to it also.
Right.
So, so I,
Just
Let
so
me-
it's clear, Jesse, the gazebo grant was spelled out, was referenced, the gazebo grant discussion from Mike Penman was discussed. And is is everything, do we have detailed enough information to match up with Don's bridge proposal on the gazebo? Because the gazebo, the reference in the minutes is that the gazebo needs to be repainted. There could be water damage to the roof. But that's not.
Yeah,
that's-
everything that is in that, my written report was concurred by the structural engineer.
Right, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't think your report, I remember as I read it, I didn't see. It was entirely on the bridge.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's why I
but
mentioned,
Jesse's motion covers the gazebo and the bridge.
and the numbers that we'll use for the gazebo will come from estimates that are written by Mike Pittman.
Okay,
Um,
so you've got that detail. So that piece has to be put together, has to be added to it then for the grant application.
Right, I've
Okay, good.
requested those numbers, and I know they're in the works. So that's another part of what we have to complete for the grant application.
Yeah.
And Nancy, I'm unclear whether we're doing an advice memo or whether the grant application itself will get submitted to the Board of Trustees.
I was told by Becky when she called me yesterday that we needed to submit an advice memo for
Okay.
next Tuesday's board meeting.
Okay, so I think the language that we use then
Yep.
is perfect.
Yep.
Well, or as good as we can do, as good as I can do.
so Jesse, I have a question. Is Mike going to write up a formal estimate on the bridge replacement as well?
No. I think that we're going to use your numbers on the bridge replacement with an inflation and factor applied,
Okay,
and the same with the gazebo estimate.
okay,
Several of us work in construction, and we all know that in discovery, in demo, we often find things that we didn't plan for.
certainly.
And we should budget for that.
Yeah, I think Dawn's list had a 20%.
That's standard though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, that's not an inflation factor. Who knows what
That's an
that is
oops.
today?
That's an oops factor.
That just being able to get the materials,
Mhm.
I mean, how do you factor that in? Because that's really hampering the industry right now. Just a FYI, I had some ideas about structural integrity on the gazebo, and I'd be happy to share those ideas with
Pinman.
yes, Mike Penman, if you care to know.
Perfect. I would say call him up. I know he's in town.
Okay, thank you.
He's been away for several weeks, but I know he's back.
All right. Is he going to be active on that right away? The estimating?
He has to be on the estimates in order for us to have him in time for this
Okay,
grant application. So I would say it's with urgency that you reach out to him about it.
okay, good.
Any other discussion on 6D? If not, I'll move into correspondence. I was not given any prior to the meeting. Do you all have any?
No,
And does anyone have a report to give for anything that was not on the agenda?
No, nothing here.
No report.
Hearing no reports, then I would consider a recommendation to adjourn. So I will adjourn us at 5:17 PM Mountain Standard Time.